I've seen that since university.
Fun, insightful interviews from a wide spectrum to some McKnight tonight. McKnight tonight. Here comes McKnight tonight.
Welcome to McKnight Tonight. Now, here's Rob McKnight.
Hello, it's Monday the 4th of August, which means it's International Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, apparently. So if things get a bit heated tonight, just remember, there's no drama a warm cookie can't solve. So how was your weekend? Well, mine got surprisingly busy. So on Saturday, my youngest child, Genevieve, she turned 13. And what do? You have a whole heap of young girls over and, yes, loud and, very teenagey things. So we did that. And then Sunday morning, I left the house at 6:30 a.m. so that I could fly down to Sydney so that I could surprise my mum for her 70th birthday. She was having a lunch down there at Campbelltown. And let's just say the surprise didn't exactly go to plan. So I was hiding. They started videoing. They were pretending to take a photo. Have a look at what happened.
Why, get in, everyone! Say, Robert's here!
Robert's here!
One more time, Robert's here!
Robert's here! Hi, Mum! Hi! Yeah, she didn't quite get it. So eventually she saw and the tears streamed and we had a lovely lunch. There she is. It was lovely. Here come the waterworks. She can't believe it. We really did surprise her. Happy birthday, Lynn McKnight. Yeah, she was really happy and I'm so glad she was. It was a great event. Really happy I went. But I'm back on the Gold Coast now, and coming up on this edition of McKnight Tonight, the gun debate is back and there could be a relaxing of our tough gun laws. Is that something anyone really wants? Well, if you've ever watched Piers Morgan, you'll know that it can be controversial, but one guest made the claim that black people can't be racist. Yeah, I got issues with that. And Steve Molk from TV Black Box will be here to take us through his Logies experience. He was there on the red carpet last night. As always, you can leave your thoughts in the comments section of this video or jump over to our YouTube page at youtube.com/@McKnight where the stream is live. We are monetizing thanks to you and it is helping us keep on keeping on. And those mugs are coming soon. All right, let's dive into our hot topics. And as an Aussie, I have a sense of pride when it comes to our gun laws. I look at the US and what happens over there, and I am thankful we have laws in place that minimise gun use. But our tough gun laws are making headlines again, thanks to a proposal from the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party, and the Men's Labor government has signalled it is open to parts of this bill. The legislation proposes formal recognition of the right to hunt on designated Crown land, with the creation of a conservation hunting authority, allowance for silencers, night vision, thermal scope use under licences, potentially launching a state-backed bounty system targeting invasive feral species. That basically means people would be paid to hunt these feral animals. It's a stark contrast to the 1996 Port Arthur response. You'll remember after that massacre, Australia conducted an historic gun buyback, destroying over 640,000 firearms. It is one of the strictest firearm regimes in the world. Now, Walter Meekak, whose family died in Port Arthur, is warning this new hunting bill being proposed in New South Wales is scary and could water down gun law safeguards. He sees the measure as a Trojan horse for the gun lobby and urges Premier Minns to hold the line. Now, in fairness, Chris Minns has said he will hold the line and not water down the gun laws, but I don't see how any changes to our gun laws wouldn't water down the tough gun laws that we have. And I've got nothing against hunters being able to go through the hoops and get licenses to shoot, but at the moment, there are extra steps that they have to go through that with the establishment of this body possibly wouldn't have to go through. We obviously don't know how everything would be affected, but once you make it easier for people to get guns, it makes it easier for them to get them and use them. And of course, we don't want to compare ourselves to the US. Just this year, in 2025, according to the K-12 school shooting database, there have been around 133 school shooting incidences so far in 2025. All right. Now, this tracker that I'm referring to, it includes any firearm discharge on school property, ranging from accidental shots to threats of violence. Now, a separate source, and it's called the Every Town for Gun Safety, reports at least 74 confirmed incidences of gunfire on school grounds, and that resulted in 25 deaths and 53 injuries. That data takes us up to early June. And it is interesting, isn't it? Because we know the American gun lobby, they don't like Australia's laws, and they're very keen for us to pare back those laws. And one of the things they always say is you need people with guns to shoot people with guns, because guns don't kill people, people kill people. So I did a bit of research, and a 2021 study found, this is the JAMA study, found no association between armed school officers and reduced casualties. So this idea that school officers would be on these grounds of these schools and they would be able to be the first responders to any potential school shooting. Get this. In fact, armed officers were linked to higher fatalities in some massacres. And most active shooter incidences don't end from return fire. Many are stopped by students hiding, fleeing, or shooter suicide, not by civilian intervention. So that means this whole idea that you need guns on these schools to protect people from the guns that are coming to these schools doesn't wash. And you can do your own research. It's all there. It's a political ideal and ambition in the States because of the Second Amendment, something we don't have here in Australia. They have that Second Amendment because they were fighting the British and they were protecting their country. It obviously, you can argue, wasn't designed for what it's become in the States. And, you know, there's politicians who are even against background checks, which blows my mind. It is a slippery slope. And you'll get arguments like, well, gangs are getting guns. You know what? It's all just minimized. And my friend, Sarah Monahan, though, she will say in Texas, with you knowing people have guns, everyone's very polite to each other. I'd argue in Australia, we're mostly polite to each other. We might have the odd rant at someone. But on the whole, we're very polite to everyone, aren't we? This is a road we don't need to go down. I like our country. I like our freedoms. And I like not having to worry about my kids going to school and being part of a school shooting because some disenfranchised kid, some bullied kid takes a gun to school because their dad has one. When we start going down that path, we have lost the plot. Okay, let me know your thoughts on gun laws in Australia and whether we should think about the hunters and what they want to do. Just leave your comment in the comment section of this video. All right, I was scrolling through TikTok today and an interesting video from Piers Morgan came up. I love the Piers Morgan Uncensored show. He's never short on controversy, but there was a guest who made an extraordinary claim. Take a look.
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
capacity
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
that's
can.
Very much
and you've been racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a race baiter with no evidence.
To me.
When have I been a race baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
This is a concept I genuinely don't understand. And it's out there. It's not the first time I've heard this argument that black people and minorities can't be racist. Now, I completely disagree with that. Racism is judging a race by the color of their skin, their background, and making a judgment call about them. And this lady has done that she's talking about Sharon Osbourne for reflection and the racism, the perceived racism that Sharon Osbourne showed by supporting Piers Morgan. But I don't think there is an argument that black people don't have justification for racism against white people because of the historic slavery and everything that's gone on. But this idea that you can't be racist if you're the minority, it's just not true. And it's a very American thing where you're told that you're a black woman or a black man, and so you can't be racist against white people because your anger and the way you feel towards the people of white skin is justified. I'm not arguing the justification, but let's just not pretend that you can't be racist just because you're black. You absolutely can. And there are people who are absolutely racist, black people who are absolutely racist towards white people. Personally, I would rather we didn't have any racism. And I'm not going to justify it, I'm not going to support it. But this idea that you're not racist, can we just hear that again, Amanda? Can we play that clip again? Take a listen and look at her reaction when Piers says you're being racist against me. She's not just trying to cause controversy. She completely doesn't understand the very concept of it.
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
capacity
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they can.
Very much
and you've been racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a race baiter with no evidence.
To me.
When have I been a race baiter?
You can be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
I'm a black woman. How can I be racist to you, but you're racist to me? Now, how has he been racist to her? There's nothing that I've seen of Piers Morgan and this interview, and I've watched the longer form version of it, that shows any sign of him being racist. But it's a grenade that's thrown out, intended to cut a conversation off completely. Black people can be racist, and they can be racist against white people. Why can't we just accept that? Okay, it's time for Rob's rant, and today, or tonight, my BS detector is going through the roof. Oh, that just fell off. That was interesting. This was a present from my kids. It's got their names on it, so I'll put that back on. We don't want to lose that. Thankfully, the laptop stopped it. But yes, my BS detector is going off today. As you know, I flew down to Sydney for my mum's 70th. And when I was at the airport, I saw this sign. Please use the hand dryer. Paper towels have been removed as they are non-recyclable. It's easy, Qantas. Get recyclable paper towels if that's the case. This is BS. This is a case of we are trying to reduce our overheads, we are trying to bring our costs down, and we are blaming the environment. So we are saying to you, be a good environmentalist. Use the hand dryer instead of the paper towels. I much prefer a paper towel. I like to be able to dry my hands properly on the paper towel, and I hate the air dryers. I keep seeing things about they blow bacteria onto you and all that kind of stuff. But let's just not pretend that it's anything else but a cost-saving measure. This is pure BS. Please use the hand dryer. Recycling paper towels, they're bad for the environment. As I said, find alternatives. You're Qantas. You can purchase in bulk. If this is not an environmental issue, if it is an environmental issue, fix it. Otherwise, put the signs up, and I saw this in Brisbane and Sydney, put the signs up and just be honest about what it is. Enough of the corporate spin and BS. I see through you. I see you, Qantas. I see you.
It's the Rant Life Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You'll never know where you'll end up with the Random Life Shot of the Day.
Yes, it's time for our Random Life Shot of the Day, and it takes us to the postcard perfect coast of Tamariu in Costa Brava, Spain. The quiet cove on the Balearic Sea is tucked away in the northeast corner of the country, about 2 hours from Barcelona. It's part of the old fishing village charm that the Catalan coast is famous for. Rocky cliffs, pebbled beaches, and water so clear it could be bottled. Now, as you can see, it's not a bad spot to wind down on a Monday. The camera is perched above Club Nautic, Tamaru, where locals and tourists soak up the sun, grab tapas by the water, or launch a boat out into the bay. The current temperature is a balmy 26 degrees, and it's heading for a low of 21 overnight. But as you can see, it is a cloudy day there. I love that. That's a nice little place, isn't it? Oh, with the super, you couldn't see all the people down here. Put some clothes on, madam. Oh, sorry about that. No, I'm joking. All right. Now, we're getting to the feedback, but there's one I'm going to call out. Matt Pott, you're saying that the black lady saying can't be racist, blacks can't be racist, is old. That was uploaded by the Piers Morgan official TikTok page yesterday, so I have to take it on face value. But it is a Piers Morgan clip. You seem to be referencing someone else. And yes, she is transgender. You have made that point. Doesn't negate the fact. And it is a term, it is something I've heard a bit over the years with people of colour saying that they can't be racist against white people. And that's why I wanted to have that discussion. So I still think it's valid. I think even if that clip is a little bit older, but I don't think it is. But you're saying that maybe she was on somewhere else. All right, let's see what else is coming through to McKnight tonight. Spencer Housen says, hello, Spencer. Lynn McKnight, that was a bit funny. It certainly was, Spencer. It certainly was. Own Your Own Crazy says, Americans, they don't like our gun laws, our pharmaceutical benefit scheme, piss off. Now, there's an interesting develop that was on 7 News tonight, and I almost clipped it up. I just couldn't get it done in time. But Mark Riley had an exclusive report about the tax that we're trying to get multinationals to pay. We passed legislation, but the G7 have done a deal with America not to impose this corporate tax. And we're talking about Google, we're talking about Meta, we're talking about TikTok, all these, well, not TikTok, but the other big American companies. And now the pressure will be on us not to charge them this corporate tax. And there was a figure in there, it was something like $2.3 billion a year they make out of Australia. And I do think they need to pay more tax. They pay like 1.5%. And you think about it, the average Aussie worker pays something like 25%. If you're on those higher incomes, it's like 49% in every dollar. It just doesn't seem right to me. And we've seen the tax office come down hard on people this year. They're doing stories about it all the time. They're really coming down hard, and people aren't getting the kind of tax returns they get that they previously have because the ATO is getting very, very tough. All right. May says, black people, of course, can be as racist as anyone else. As a white woman, I have experienced it from relatives. That's interesting, May. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with McKnight tonight. Restoration Archive says, we made these people victims by the colour of their skin, and now they expect it. That's interesting. Okay, thank you for that, Restoration Archive. Over the page we go. Matt says, this is what we're being taught in our everyday life now. We are being told by our government that we should feel ashamed for being white. I am not ashamed, as you should not be. Every race, every colour should be proud of their heritage. Over the page we go. Dylan says, more greenhouse gases produced by the hairdryer. Yes, exactly, Dylan. Exactly. It's BS, Qantas. We see you, Qantas. Have we got any more there? Jeanette says, hairdryer requires electricity. Still a cost. Yes, but I do think a bit of electricity is cheaper than hand towels. Matthew says, paper is more recyclable than power. Very, very good point, Matthew. Appreciate that. And Dylan, looks good. Would happily lie on the beach sipping a cheeky Monday cocktail or two. Me as well, Dylan. I'll have more of your feedback a little later in this edition of McKnight Tonight. Thanks for your company. Keep your comments coming.
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Well, TV's Night of Nights has come and gone for another year. With home and away darling Lynn McGranger, she took out the gold Logie. Not that it was that much of a surprise, I've got to say. TV Black Box's very own Steve Molk was on the red carpet last night and he joins me now. Molk, welcome to McKnight Tonight.
Hi, it's me, Rob. Hello, it's great to speak with you.
For all those asking who say, when will you get Molk on? And I always say, he's already been on McKnight Tonight, but thanks for watching.
He's also not very good talent, frankly, but thanks for having me and giving me a go.
Hey, you did a stellar job on the red carpet last night for TV Black Box. What was the vibe like on the red carpet this year?
Rob, it was really interesting because, as you'd expect, organised chaos, that's normally what happens in that situation. And lots of people feeling really upbeat about the industry. I was surprised, probably I shouldn't have been. There weren't very many streamers as far as talent, people from streamers, some from Netflix, but that was really it, some from Binge. And the free-to-air, 7 had the largest contingent by far, though there was a few, but not thousands, from 9. 10 had a pretty decent turnout. ABC had heaps. And, of course, the SBS crew turned up.
What did you think of the actual award ceremony?
I thought that Sam Pang did a pretty great job again as host. And I think it proved that in that scenario where he's got really good writing and we get to have Sam, dare I say it, in a kind of sparing use where he's there with a purpose. It did a really great job. I thought that it just ran long again, really. And some of the reason for that was some pretty average either ad-libbing or poorly written scripts for some of the presenters to work with.
Although 7 like it running longer because it gives them a higher share.
Yeah, well, look, and I can understand that. But do you do that at the cost of actual entertainment and welcome the criticism? Or do you just go, no, we're doing it because that's a thing? I mean, Kitty Flanagan and Ann Edmonds proved that as a double act, they are spectacular. They were really, really great off the back of Sam's monologue. But then you had other pairings that were like, that wasn't great, friends.
Yes. Let me ask you, though, the block did very well last night. The ratings were very close. The block was up against the Logies, but it held its own, didn't it?
Yeah, the first room reveal for this season's block, and it pulled shade over 1.3 million nationally for its 90 minutes leading into 60. But meanwhile, over on Channel 7 for the 7:30 to 11 o'clock, which was the original scheduled time slot for the Logies, it pulled 1.4 and change. So it was a very close competition and proved 2.7, nearly 2.8 million people tuned in to watch TV last night.
And that's just on 2 networks.
Yeah, right. That's before we throw in MasterChef, which had another 600, I think it was. And then, of course, the ABC and SBS.
Now, I mentioned Lynn McGranger took out the gold, as we've seen all day and we saw last night.
Yep.
What did you think of this win? Was it inevitable?
I think it was certainly very much the people's vote, and 7 pushed very hard for Lynn, totally understandably. I think that there was a lot of emotion behind it, given that she's been on home and away for so long, and this kind of felt like it should be Lynn's year, if that makes sense. It was never going to be Hamish's year, God bless him. And
now,
I think
did you find that a bit outrageous last night, that they kept basically... It was like he was being accused of he shouldn't be part of this because he's a bloke. Like, it was really... I found it off-putting.
I didn't get that. I got lots of good jokes, or heard lots of good jokes sort of acknowledging that, Hamish is the only bloke with all of these ladies and, if he was to win it, it would be a bit outrageous. I mean, take it for what it's worth. The reality
but why?
is that
it would literally be outrageous because he's a bloke and we don't care what the public viewing votes for?
Well, I think that's the thing, right? The Gold Logie is still 100% a popularity contest. So if the audience voted that Hamish should win, the audience voted that Hamish should win. That's just all it's going to be. However, in this instance, the audience thought that Lynn was the one that should get it. And I think that's, look, whoever wins, wins, right?
Yeah, but what do you think of the way the final list of Gold Logie nominees is calculated? Because I vote on the on the Logie Awards in the news categories. So,
yes,
a whole range of people, nominations coming from the networks, and I go through it with other people who I don't know who they are, and I give my scoring, and that helps determine the final 5 nominees. But with the Gold Logie, it's just this random list of people that pops up. It just seems to me like it's 7 get 2, 9 get 2, 10 might get 1, SBS, like, is there any rhyme or reason to it, or is it just decided by the publicists?
Yeah, not that we can tell. When it comes to the gold Logie, it's a little bit cloak and dagger and a bit magic mirrors, and whoever's got the right to say we think this or put their foot down or stamp or whatever. I'm sure there's some kind of magical coven meeting where they have a discussion and say, we think that Lynn McGranger's due for a go. Who knows? Certainly it's an interesting group, given that if we have a look at just the nominees this year, Sonia Kruger, return nominee, return multiple winner. Hamish Blake, same. Julia Morris, serial nominee at this point. Poe's first time, Lisa Miller's first time, and I think it was Ali's first time as well. I can't recall. Could have been.
Yeah. I liked it when all the presenters would be there and people would, the public would whittle it down to that final list of nominees. But that was a 2-stage process. Doesn't happen anymore. You did speak to Lynn on the red carpet earlier before she won the Gold Logie. Let's have a look at what she had to say to you in that pre-winning interview.
Lynn McGranger, absolutely the people's choice for Gold Logie tonight. How are you feeling?
Well, now you've said that, I'm terrified. No, look, I am really honoured and really very happy, but a little nervous.
Sure.
I've been doing a lot of press. I don't know if you've noticed.
No, I've seen a couple.
Drag from pillar to post. I just hope I haven't, drenched the public eye. And if I have, I'm going to kill my publicist.
I don't think that's possible, given that how much we all have loved Irene.
Oh, that's so lovely.
And with you, of course, saying I'm finishing up this year on the show. It's the natural fit. We need to see Irene go out with great success. And not that you're finishing by any stretch, but it would be wonderful to see your career get this kind of pinnacle moment.
It would be lovely. And I've worked out what I'm going to do with it.
Yes.
I'm going to saw off the head, scoop out the middle.
Yes.
When I'm cremated, get my ashes put in there, screw the head back on and give it to my daughter, and she can leave it on a mantelpiece. She'll have a gold Logie and my ashes.
That's amazing.
How good is that?
Not since Scott Cam turned his Logie into a bottle opener have we heard such unique approach to making sure we can maintain it.
That's what I'm going to do, and it will stay in the family. And you're like, can't throw that out. That's mum.
That's mum.
That's Nana. That's that's great grandmother.
Can you imagine?
Hilarious.
She is an absolute classic. Look, she is a good winner. There's no doubt about that. But she certainly had the 7 machine behind her. Since 7 have taken over the Logies, has any other network won the gold?
Look, Larry, Sonia, no. It's all been 7 talent that's taken out the gold, I think, since 7 have taken over. Conspiracy number 7.
Okay. Magda Szubanski was inducted into the Logie Hall of Fame. That seemed good, and she seemed very emotional about the whole thing. That was a really nice moment, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and from what I understand, not a dry eye in the house, when she was delivering her portion, and also the lead-up, of course, because Magda has been on our screens as a comedy performer and writer for years, literal decades. And so the body of work they had to lean into, and then, of course, the contacts and friends and people that she's made within the industry that know her nationally and internationally, all got to speak lovely words about how fabulous she is. I thought that was great. And I loved that she underscored that in no way was this like a sympathy gold Logie, like let's get her before she dies. The conversation had started with the organisers before she even announced her cancer diagnosis.
Right.
So I think that's lovely and certainly very deserving. And look, it was delightful that she got even her own little gag in on the back end, thanks to Mark Downey sort of back announcing it for her. It also meant, just quietly, that the Hall of Fame segment wasn't one of the big time vandals. Normally, you get the person in the room, they stand up and they talk for 17 minutes, and you go, "Oh, that's wonderful. We really love you." But now the show's going to run till 3 a.m. on Wednesday. But it wasn't, because it was pre-recorded.
Yeah, which was, good.
Finally, mate. Given it still ran 60 minutes late.
You were on the red carpet. You did a phenomenal job. Any secrets that you learned? Who was the nicest? Who snubbed you?
in charge of me.
Oh, look, the difficult thing is it's feast and famine when it comes to the red carpet, because you can be talking as Joe Griggs or have, someone else, Colin Fassnidge and Manu Fidel, and then nobody for 20 minutes or 15 minutes because they're all caught up further up the end.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there is a huge flood of people and you're trying to have a wonderful, polite conversation and get your 3 questions in with the person you're talking to, and 7 people that you wanted to get just walk through behind you. So you're trying to call people back, and they're under, the pressure that comes from PR saying, no, we've got to get through and get you seated or get you to the photo wall or do whatever it is that's going on there. I love speaking with Jo Griggs. She's always delightful, and that was fabulous. I got to speak to most of the Gold Logie nominees, including Julia Morris. That was fabulous. Ali Langdon, though I didn't talk about the Gold Logie with her at all. I totally forgot she was nominated at the time. Oops, Molk.
And you didn't talk to them about winning Best TV Presenter. You had a few of them there in my Media McKnight.
I know, I had a few. Well, look, I did talk with Ali about the fact that, she was nominated for and won the Ray Martin Award for Best News Presentation. As it turned out, she won, but we got to talk about that as a nomination for her. Look, I was very pleased, and this is a glorious bit of inside information. I had a great conversation with the about-to-be Big Brother reboot host, Mel Tresina from the Cheap Seats, all off air. And we had some off-the-record conversations about what's happening with the Big Brother house and what may or may not be happening with rehearsals and how the casting situation is progressing and all of those sorts of things. There will be some good stories to come from that, I'm absolutely sure. And I look, Rob, we had a conversation about whether or not Mel Tresina would be a good host just privately in the TV Backbox Slack. And I said I wasn't sure. I had my feet in sort of both camps. I'm a changed man. I have to admit, totally wrong. I think that Mel is going to be a stunning host for this upcoming season of Big Brother Australia. And we would be crazy not to tune in and watch her on 10 when that comes.
Well, I will certainly be tuning in. And I said at that time that I think she'll be a great host. Hey, your interviews from the red carpet are available on the TV Black Box socials. And if you go to the website, we've got the whole Logies thing there. Just go to tvblackbox.com.au. They're really well worth a watch. Molk, thank you very much for joining us on McKnight Tonight.
It's my pleasure, mate. Love it every year. Always great to get out and spruik TV Black Box at the Logies and say hi and give people a special cuddle.
We love it.
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Oh, good on you, Molky. Thank you for that. We've got some feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight. Travis says Jimmy Barnes was the wrong choice to open it. What does it have to do with TV? I think he has got a special coming up on Channel 7. I agree with you, though, Travis. As soon as I saw that, that was the first announcement. Jimmy Barnes to open the show. Jimmy Barnes will open the local fair. I mean, no disrespect to Jimmy Barnes. He's an Australian icon, but can't we do any better than that? Sorry. Radio Note says Julia Morris did some great cheeky live streams from inside the Logies, up to gold as well. Oh, fantastic. That's really cool. Matthew says, can we vote for Molk for net gold next year? Oh, yeah, all right, Matthew. I mean, I only do a live internet streaming show Monday to Thursday. But yeah, let's get Molk the gold. Thanks very much. FG says that segment on Magda and her speech was very moving. It really was, Auntie G. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Dylan says Wiley won an inductee. Surely with all the TV celebrities, more than one could be inducted. Could you imagine how long the speeches would go for, though, Dylan? Would go all night. All right, before we go, Dylan says, sorry, come up. All right, well, look, before we go, I reckon we've got time for a back-end quickie. I know MPG likes a tight show, but it's only 9:33, so let's have a back-end quickie. And it's still Logies related. Now, have a look at this headline from news.com.au. It says, Logies producers not happy as Tom Gleeson improvised graphic wank joke. Well, Tom did a social media post with that, and this is what he posted in response to that headline. This is what he said. I'll rewrite the headline. Comedian performs comedy. Beautifully said, Tom. Beautifully said. And that brings us to the end of McKnight Tonight. We will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. with Media McKnight. And I know some of you want to talk about the gold changes. I'll be talking about all of that. There's been a lot of movement happening in the world of media. I will get across all that as best I can tomorrow on Media McKnight. And then McKnight Tonight is back on Wednesday at 9 p.m. I hope to see you then. Keep it tuned to McKnight Tonight because it is good night from McKnight.
It's good night.